Meatloaf.
You do not like this song.
Anything for
You have to turn it off.
But I won't do that.
Please stop.
Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. The Vow, I've just been informed, I did not see it, is not a Nicholas Sparks book.
It just reeks of Nicholas Sparksiness.
It's got two Sparks vets in
Right, Channing Tatum, Rachel McAdams, but it's not, but it could be. What's it about?
I'm Christy, by the way.
Sorry, Jesus. For the love of God.
Perhaps you've heard of us.
Alonso Duralde, Christy Lemire, Ben Mankiewicz. Fine, what's the Vow about?
Okay, so Rachel McAdams wakes up from a coma in a hospital after a bad car accident and realizes that she's married to Channing Tatum, lives in a beautiful, spacious, boho chic loft, and is a very successful artist in Chicago. This is supposed to be a problem, and we're supposed to figure out why. She has this memory loss, and she's supposed to realize, I don't really love this guy, or do I? I'm confused, I have great hair. I don't know. Take a look, it's confusing.
Life's all about moments of impact and how they change our lives forever. But what if one day you could no longer remember any of them?
Kate, you're in the hospital. You were in a car accident.
Any pain?
My head hurts, doctor.
She doesn't remember me.
Her memory is going to improve with time.
We missed you. Coming home to a life I don't know. That's a lot to take in.
We'll figure this out together. Good morning. What?
Please knock.
This habit. I'm sorry.
From your intro, the way you described it, it sounds like you loved it.
You know what it is? They're both really appealing. I kept watching it though thinking, okay, obviously she should be in love with Channing Tatum, right? He's Channing Tatum. It would have been a lot more interesting if someone who looked like Paul Giamatti were her husband, right? She wakes up and she's married to Paul Giamatti, but he loves her with the power of 1,000 suns, and he will fight for her to help her regain her memory. Wouldn't that have been a better movie?
You want too much for the audience that wants to see this movie.
Wouldn't that have been a better movie,
Well,
though?
yes, any movie is better with Paul Giamatti in it, but I liked how this was, you could tell this is the chick flick Channing Tatum, because he wears a lot of cowl neck sweaters.
That's true.
Like, he has like 4 or 5 of them.
And nipple-clinging t-shirts, though. You have those as well, and he is shirtless.
And you get to see dat ass.
Is it his ass, though, or is it an ass double?
I think that's his ass. I think it's a full range of motion in that shot. I don't think they could have slipped somebody else
Find
in.
him attractive?
Totally.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I would think
You don't
that
get
women
that?
would. No, I don't. I mean, I get it why some women would, but he seems.
We just hoped better for you.
Right. No,
I
he
have
just seems a
standards.
little football playerish for, you know.
For me?
Yeah.
But here's the deal, though, that he's like hunky, right?
Yeah.
But he's a better actor than his hunky good looks might suggest.
Right.
There is more
Really?
Yeah,
What?
there's more
No.
going on there.
No.
The
I think
guy recognizing your saints, he's good.
I think he's an underwear model who shouldn't talk, frankly. And I don't think he's a very good actor.
There's more going on there than
I think women find him appealing because he's got man body and boy face.
He's very boyish, and he can cry on cue, which he has to do a lot here because he's helping to fight for her memory.
I actually like this movie better than you, but I don't like Channing Tatum. Yeah, I think that I give a lot of slack to this movie because it knows exactly what it wants to be and who it wants to appeal to. So under those, parameters, it's perfectly fine. It's sappy and it's, it's as cornball as like, like Now Voyager or Dark Victory, one of those old sort of Betty Davis 3 handkerchief movies where someone has a terminal disease or whatever.
Very old-fashioned amnesia movie.
And I kind of like the twist of, it's not just that Rachel McAdams has amnesia, because that's sort of an old soap opera saw, but the years that she forgets happen to be the years in which she completely changed her life. She went from being this sort of like Lake Forest, sorority girl, law student, daddy's little girl, to leaving it all behind, moving into the city, going to art school, like spurning her rich family and like, becoming this artist and stuff. And so when you forget this chunk of your life where you've totally changed everything and you're back to square one, it's interesting, at least. It's dramatically kind of interesting. And plus the fact that her family is so perfectly happy to take advantage of that fact and be like, oh great, you're back in the fold. Let's forget that Channing Tatum bullshit. We're gonna, back.
And the ex-fiance,
Scott Speedman, yes.
Ex-fiance. I think it toys with the idea of identity and reinvention, but doesn't really want to mine it that deeply. It wants to sort of toy with it, like here we have something on our mind, but really it's more about their goopy love affair.
Well, I mean, it definitely, the whole idea of having to make somebody fall in love with you all over again
it's
is
a nice idea.
Yeah, and it's popped up before. Those 50 First Dates. There was that Alan Rudolph movie, Made in Heaven. Even to an extent, this really sappy 70s movie called The Promise. Remember that one, where the Kathleen Quinlan is in the she's poor and she's in love with blonde guy from the first Star Trek movie who's rich, and then
The blonde guy from the first Star Trek movie who's rich.
No.
The real first Star Trek movie.
The real first Star Trek, the motion picture,
Right.
that guy, Stephen Collins. He's rich, and so then she
He was
gets...
on Dynasty. Wasn't he on Dynasty?
Probably, everybody's on Dynasty. So, and then Kathleen Quinlan gets into a car accident and she's disfigured, and then Beatrice Straight, who's the mean rich mother, offers for reconstructive surgery, but only if she'll leave the rich son alone. But then, of course, they find each other again anyway.
You love that movie.
No, it's awful, but I'm just saying,
No,
this
but
is...
you remembered it really
I'm just saying,
well.
this is in that vein of movie. So, this is not my kind of movie, but, as Keith Olbermann would say, people who like this sort of thing will like this sort of thing. So I think if you don't want to see The Vow, you're right, and don't go see The Vow. But if you want to see The Vow and you want it to deliver what it is that you're hoping to get from a movie like The Vow, it delivers.
Right. There are 25-year-old girls sitting next to us who brought their own tissues and used them and wanted to go back and see it on a matinee.
That's a great way of putting it, though. Like that both ways. If you rolled your eyes when you saw the trailer, don't go. You're right. And if you thought, oh my God, also you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm cynical, so I of course found it hard to swallow.
You did. We need to go back like 175 seconds. You did compare it to Dark Victory, right?
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, Dark Victory is a much better movie, but it's that same kind of sentimental, movie that you watch under a blanket when you have the flu and you cry.
Does anyone in the movie get cancer?
No.
So it's not a Nicholas Sparks.
It's not a Nicholas Sparks movie, yeah. But they're both very good looking and they're very appealing and they have some nice moments together.
I mean,
Better than Dear John?
I didn't see Dear John.
I didn't either.
It is what my friend Vinny would call a pretty white people with problems movie. But if that's what you're in the mood for, this delivers, in spades.
All right, numbers?
4.
I'm going to go 6-2 again for being the movie that it wants to be. It goes all in on it. Whether or not it should have is another issue, but for what it is that.
I'm mean and cold-hearted, of course, as you know.
Yeah, totally. That brings it to a 5.1, making it 1% better than average.
And I think it's somewhere, our friend Ben actually is out of town this week, but it's somewhere around there in the tomato world. It's like 53%, something like that.
Vamp for 2 seconds. Just talk amongst yourselves.
So Channing Tatum, shirtless enough in this movie or not?
That's really
56.
For me, that's all he brings to the table. So he should just not wear
tomato
shirts at all. But I did like the cowl neck sweaters. I thought that was a nice touch.
Like it's cold in Chicago.
Chilly,
You need to bundle
yes.
up with some hot
Burr.
chocolate. All right, bye.